What's up, everybody? This is Jordan Smith with the iProv blog, VP of Sales and Marketing at iProv, and I've, as always, got my delightful co-host, Patrick Laughlin. What's up, Pat?
What's up, Joe? Yeah, we're like ride or die at this point.
Yeah, I know. You are my ride or die, Patrick. For better or worse.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Hey, I like the way we're starting this off because this is the topic that we wanted to talk about today. We got a really good email from one of our mentors. They encouraged us to reach out and just make sure we told the folks around us, especially the ones that we work for, how much we appreciate. And something that was interesting that we thought a lot about is, kind of how much we not only appreciate the work, but how much we care for them as an individual.
Yeah, in fact, he recommended a book called Love is Just Damn Good Business by Steve Farber.
Yeah.
And I'll admit, I went and bought it. It's on my Kindle. I'm sure I'll get around to it. But I have never been comfortable with the idea of love in the workplace. And I've had bosses that were, as close to me as fathers even. And truly, love them, will be at their funerals, have been at their kids' weddings, felt like family. But I've never liked the idea of a business as a family. Lots of leaders talk about business family and we're like a family, and that never rang true for me. It always felt really hollow, and because in my mind, it's a tribe.
Yeah.
You have people that come and go. That's normal in a tribe. You have people that have other interests at some point in their journey, and so they decide to take a different path. But when you're with each other, there's a shared purpose, there's a communal feeling, and I mean, I guess it is sort of a form of love. It's goodwill.
Yeah.
It never did sort of spark in my brain as reaching that level, but maybe it does to some, and maybe it's genuine, and I've not been open and vulnerable enough to allow myself to feel that way. I don't know. What about you, Joe?
No, I like that concept. I'm the same way where, I've heard the family thing and it's just never rung quite true to me, but I do like the concept of it being a tribe or a community. Doesn't mean that you can't, the type of affection and the respect and admiration and friendship that you build in that community, labeling it or thinking of it as a community or a tribe, as opposed to a family, doesn't mean that those things aren't still there. And again, we haven't dug into the book, but one of the things that's interesting, at least about the concept from what I've gotten into about it, is just that idea of making sure that you communicate those things, that you the same way that you put effort towards kind of growing your business and making sure that you're setting people up for success, putting the same effort towards building that community. Even with your employees. I know a lot of managers are kind of, scared, or not scared, but reluctant to have those conversations with people that they're in charge of. One, because it is a vulnerable thing that you talked about, but two, maybe they just don't want to get that close to those individuals,
Well, and truthfully, I want to be as open and as transparent as I can as a leader, but sometimes I have to keep things that I know to myself. And it's really not because I don't want to share, or I don't think they can handle bad information or bad news. It's because it's a distraction for them. Mm-hmm. And I don't want them distracted by that. Yeah. But I totally agree with you. I think that the fastest way to build a growing business is to be in the business of growing your people. The more that they can grow beyond what you hired them to do, the more that they can take on, the more that they say, let me have it. That's how you build a great business. I always love the analogy that A players hire A players and B players hire C players. Mm-hmm. You don't build successful businesses on the backs of C players. A players want A plus players working for them, and they do whatever they can to make sure that they can be A plus players.
Yeah.
And whether that means love or that means some sort of thing from a cultural standpoint, whatever that means. I do think that it requires a level of appreciation and communication and vulnerability to say that how much you appreciate them. In fact, one of our employees shared a post the other day on Facebook, and I won't call them out; they know who they are. But they said they shared the post, and they said, "I truly love working here." Mm-hmm. And man, I could not tell you how much that meant to me that day. Yeah. It put a smile on my face from ear to ear. Yep. Because, genuinely, this is a person that I think is fantastic. I hope that they stay with the company. I hope I get to work with them for a very long time. And I will be sad to see leave the tribe because he's such an incredible member of the tribe. But it just meant more to me than the world itself. And so I just called him or called them. I called them and I said, I wanted to say how much I appreciate that. I hope you really mean it because it meant a lot to me in ways you won't understand. And I just needed you to know that. And, they told me how much they care and how much this place means to them. And, that's selfish, right? Because it means that I get to say, oh, I'm doing a good job. I'm leading a good company. But the truth is, I'm just building opportunities for them to do what they do best. And to me, that is the greatest expression of love is allowing people to be who they are, to do what they're, to express their God-given talents in ways that benefit other people. So,
well, and also, everybody out there, think about, we all work for somebody, but also think about the organizations of the jobs that you've had in the past. The ones where you were the happiest or the most successful or the most fulfilled were not only ones where you believed in the mission, but where, the office is an office. It's the people in the office that garners that, that feeling of success or that, wanting to get up on a Wednesday morning and, have tough conversations or go do a handful of things for the next 10 hours that you might not necessarily want to do. It's those people, it's those relationships. So why would you not want to foster that part of your business? Because at the end of the day, it's only going to make your people feel more fulfilled. It's going to make them work harder and do better quality work for you. And I mean, Pat, like you talked about too, you're building bonds within those walls that last long beyond what kind of job roles you have in that office.
Yeah, I mean, and quite honestly, the best employees I've ever had came from other good employees. Mm-hmm. Always. It always came from somebody saying, "Hey, I know somebody that you should know," even if they don't work for me anymore. It's always come from that.
Well, and think about that from the perspective of, would you ever invite your friend to a crappy party or a party?
Yeah.
No, much less, hey, come and spend most of your life, at least for the next couple years, doing this. No, if you weren't really enjoying and you didn't really feel fulfilled in that role, there's no way, because you don't even drag people to things unless you tell them, hey, this is going to suck, so I want you to come along with me. So for organizations out there, if you have if most of your employees are coming from referrals, that's a great sign that there is something that's going right from a culture standpoint in your organization. And if you're not, it doesn't mean that you've got a bad or toxic culture either. It just means the same way that you're deliberate about the business conversations you're having in the business. Take some time and have some personal conversations to get to know either your current and coworkers or even the folks that work for you.
Well, the other thing I'll tell you too is don't be afraid to show up. Mm-hmm. Celebrate whatever it is they're doing, and don't be afraid to cry with them if that's what they need. Yeah. I was telling Jordan before we hopped on this call, if I thought back to every sort of hard time I had in my life, when somebody close to me passed away, or, when there was some really trying decision to make, outside of immediate family, it really was people that I worked with that offered a tremendous amount of support and offered you know, a version of love I needed at that time. So anyway, I think it's important, especially right now, to remind ourselves that we have people counting on us, and they're counting on us in more ways than we're probably used to. So and take time to, you know, give yourself some space, give yourself some love.
Yeah. You know. Give them more than directives and a paycheck, and they're gonna give it back to you in full. I guarantee you.
Absolutely.
All right.
Anyway, Joe.
Well, Pat, until next time, everybody, thanks for listening. Leave us in the comments some of the things that you do to make sure, especially if you're still working remote, like a lot of our people are, kind of what you're doing to just make sure that you're still garnering those relationships and helping those that work with you and for you, and that you work for, how you're continuing those relationships. I'd love to know what people are doing right now.
Me too. And don't forget to show up to office hours. It's a great place to sort of unload.
Yeah, come join us every single Thursday, 3:30 to 4:30 Central Time. Pop in there. Follow our Facebook page for the Zoom link every week. So, all right, Pat, until next time.
See you, Joe.
All right, peace, peeps.